Your Majesty, the kingdom looks to us.
And we shall not falter.
Our unity is our strength.
In the vastness of the Orion Arm, the Zytherian Empire ruled over hundreds of star systems. Their cities floated over oceans of liquid crystal, their fleets could shatter moons, and their people believed they were the most refined civilization in the galaxy. Among them lived Princess Kaelira Zythera, the youngest daughter of Emperor Valen. At just 19 cycles old, Kaelira was already famous across the Empire for her intelligence, beauty, and sharp tongue. Unfortunately, she was also known for something else: arrogance. To Kaelira, most species in the galaxy were inferior curiosities. Some were useful allies, others were little more than entertaining subjects. Humans, in particular, fascinated her, not because she admired them, but because she found them strange. Emotional, reckless, and primitive, she once said during a royal council session, yet they somehow survive among the stars. The council chamber filled with quiet laughter. Recently, humans had begun appearing more frequently in the galaxy. Their technology wasn't the most advanced, but their creativity and stubborn resilience allowed them to compete with civilizations far older than themselves. Some empires respected them. The Zytherians did not. One day, an unusual diplomatic event was arranged aboard the Imperial Station Aurelius Prime, a meeting between Zytherian officials and a small human delegation. Among the humans was a quiet man named Commander Elias Rowan. Unlike the other diplomats who wore decorated uniforms and spoke proudly of humanity's achievements, Rowan stood calmly in a simple dark suit. He said little and observed everything. No one in the Zytherian court recognized him. To them, he was just another human. Princess Kaelira, however, had decided to attend the meeting out of boredom. She sat beside the Emperor's throne, watching the humans with amused curiosity. The negotiations went smoothly at first. Trade agreements were discussed, exploration zones were mapped. Then Kaelira noticed something. While the other humans spoke nervously or respectfully, Rowan remained silent. He didn't bow deeply like the others. He didn't appear intimidated by the glowing palace or the towering Zytherian guards. He simply watched. Kaelira leaned forward, intrigued. "Human," she said suddenly, her voice echoing across the chamber. All eyes turned toward her. "You've been very quiet." Rowan looked up calmly. "Yes, Princess." His voice was steady, respectful, but completely unafraid. Kaelira smirked. "Are you afraid to speak in front of a superior species?" Some nobles chuckled softly. Rowan didn't react. Instead, he simply waited. Kaelira tilted her head. "I've studied humans. Your species argues constantly, fights pointless wars, and still struggles with problems we solved centuries ago." The laughter grew louder. "You travel the stars with technology borrowed from civilizations far older than yourselves. Frankly, I find it surprising your kind hasn't destroyed itself yet." The room grew silent. Many of the diplomats shifted uncomfortably, but Rowan remained still. Kaelira expected anger. She expected a defensive speech, maybe even an emotional outburst. Instead, Rowan slowly stood up. He looked at her for a moment, not with hatred, not with fear, but with something far more confusing: disappointment. Then, without saying a single word, he turned around and began walking toward the exit. The massive chamber fell into stunned silence. The guards glanced at the Emperor, unsure whether to stop him, but Emperor Valen raised a hand. "Let him go." Rowan walked through the towering doors and disappeared into the corridor. Kaelira blinked. "That's it?" she asked, confused. "He doesn't even defend his species?" One of the senior advisors spoke quietly. "Perhaps he believed there was nothing to defend against, Princess." But Kaelira wasn't satisfied. Why would someone walk away from an insult like that? Most species would have reacted, yet the humans simply left. Later that evening, curiosity got the better of her. Kaelira searched the Imperial database for information about the quiet human. What she found surprised her. Commander Elias Rowan, Decorated explorer, veteran of multiple first contact missions, survivor of the Helios Rift incident, an event where a human vessel saved an entire alien colony from a collapsing star. Further records appeared. Peace mediator between three rival civilizations, leader of a humanitarian fleet that delivered aid to planets devastated by war. The more she read, the quieter she became. Rowan wasn't just a diplomat, he was one of humanity's most respected explorers, and she had mocked him like a child mocking a stranger. Suddenly, she understood something that made her uncomfortable. He hadn't walked away because he was weak. He walked away because he didn't feel the need to respond. The next day, Kalira left the palace alone and traveled to the docking bays where the human ship was preparing to depart. She found Rowan standing near the viewing window, staring at the stars. For a moment, she hesitated. Then she approached. "Commander Rowan." He turned calmly. "Yes, Princess?" Kalira crossed her arms, trying to hide her awkwardness. "You left the council chamber yesterday." "Yes." "You didn't respond to my insult." Rowan studied her for a moment, then he spoke quietly. "Princess, when someone doesn't understand you, you can either argue with them or you can wait until they learn." Kalira frowned. "So you think I don't understand humans?" Rowan smiled slightly. "I think you've only read about us in books." He gestured towards the stars outside the window. "Out there, every species struggles. Every civilization makes mistakes." Kalira remained silent. "But humanity," Rowan continued, "learned something important very early." "What?" "That strength isn't proven by winning arguments." He looked back at her. "Sometimes it's proven by knowing when a conversation isn't worth having." For the first time in years, Princess Kalira had no clever response. Rowan nodded politely. "My ship leaves in 10 minutes. He began walking toward the docking ramp. Then he paused. "One day, Princess, you'll meet humans who will show you exactly why our species survived." He glanced back at her. "And when that day comes, you won't need to mock us to feel superior." Then he boarded the ship. Moments later, the human vessel lifted off and vanished into the stars. Kalira stood in the silent docking bay long after it disappeared. For the first time in her life, the young alien princess realized something. The human she mocked had taught her a lesson without ever raising his voice. And somehow, that silent walkaway had been more powerful than any argument she could imagine.